Fairview, Umpqua, Maplewood, Homestead, Fairlawn, and McKinley, Hoover are all directly affected by their operations. It is our feeling that this causes an unsafe environment for all the residents in the area. Again, this is a statement regarding feelings, not supported by any documentation. More from a subsequent paragraph. Aside from environmental decontamination, we must also be vigilant as to what chemicals we introduce into our small city, if not properly oversighted. They may be used for acts such as terrorism, a commonly known in many mass casualties throughout the history, blah, blah, blah. I'll just skip down here. It says here that most chemical weapons that were used in World War I and II, mustard gases, etc., no longer are manufactured. Such uses are strictly restricted. The only other mass use of volatile chemicals that I am aware of, and this is the author of this letter, who's a PhD, the only other that I'm aware of caused mass casualties was the use of Xylon B during World War II in a Nazi death camp. Again, there are certainly no chemicals in this category that are going to be used by this pest control company. Further, in the same paragraph, chemicals carried by the pest control companies are unknown to the general public, and therefore we cannot guarantee their safety, unquote. This is really a strange sentence. First of all, the chemicals used by the companies such as McHale must be on file and with both the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation as well as the United States Environmental Protection Agency. I haven't taken the time to find out what the specific chemicals are that the company lists, but those agencies, however, I can assure you, know what they are, and they are highly regulated. Perhaps you are aware of this flyer was recently distributed, perhaps not, I don't know. However, it is a classic case of fear-mongering. It is nothing in this flyer that I find to be based on facts. Reliance upon facts and accurate analysis of data, interpretation, or any other viable source of information. I'm an MIT-trained organic chemist, PhD 1983. I've worked in various research labs and companies and have been a professor of chemistry at Pace University since 1994. I am no special pleader for J.P. McHale. I have no commercial relationship with the company, except for the time that we hired them to cut down 2 trees on our property some years ago. I checked out the company with the Better Business Bureau site and found they have an A+ rating. They also have several positive online reviews. As far as concerns about chemicals, I venture to say that most people have various household chemicals that are more problematic when washed down the drain or incorrectly placed in household trash or incorrectly applied on lawns and shrubs then would be contained or pose a danger from this company. So please, Mayor Catalina, forward this letter to the members of the Planning Board before tonight's meeting. I'm sorry, I couldn't do that. My husband and I cannot attend since we will be at our monthly meeting of the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary in Ossining at the same time. Otherwise, we'd be at the Planning Board otherwise. This is signed Karen R. Caldwell, PhD. She gives her telephone number, and I would ask that it be made part of the record.
Thank you.
As to the reason that I'm here, I lived in the city basically all my life. I've been a big advocate of the city for smart development and to bring employers into the city of mid-sized companies. This plan will bring 30 to 40 jobs, maybe even more, to the city of Peekskill. This is not a residential area. Washington Street is the main commercial thoroughfare, north and south, from Route 9A on Welcher Avenue all the way up to the central business district of the city of Peekskill. In this particular area, the houses that are on Washington Street, directly across the street, are the intruders onto a commercial area, onto a commercial strip. They've been there since the 50s, and probably even earlier. On that side of the street, if someone came to you, and with all due respect to the residents, if someone came in here and actually proposed what is there now, we would laugh them out of the city. We want a bar. We want a biker bar that's going to generate 150 calls to the police on average a year for disorderly conduct, public intoxication, damage to property, fighting, drugs. and everything else. State Liquor Authority violations, almost 100 in the past 2 years. We're going to operate till 4 in the morning. We're going to play our music as loud as we want because we can. You would laugh that application off the map. They wouldn't even see the light of day. And the people opposed to it would be lined up down the stairs ready to speak against it. To say that this would improve what's currently there is the understatement of the year. This will take what's currently there and make it into a magnificent thing. On both sides of this establishment, there are commercial activity. If you're looking at it from across the street, to the right of it, there's a bakery which generates 200 to 300 cars per hour on a weekend. You cannot get a parking spot there. How is that permitted to open without parking, without off-street parking? I'm not against the bakery, believe me. But I'm just telling you that when the business traffic, Dunkin' Donuts is right up the street. How could they be permitted with the traffic that they generated? There's about a 60 or 70 car used car lot right next door to the bakery that generates tons of traffic. There's a gas station next to the used car lot as we work our way up Washington Street. Across the street, there's a funeral home. When you go there, when somebody popular in town passed away and you have a wake, you cannot park on Washington Street. The traffic that this generates, the 39 trucks, I would venture to guess and suppose is actually...
The way he says the word feelings, that just makes me cringe. They cut down trees. Who calls an exterminator to cut down trees?
Even if they used Roosevelt for the 100 feet or so up to Washington and come out the back way, it's not intruding into the residential area, as directly across the street on Roosevelt is the bakery building itself. And when I was a young boy, and my aunt and my cousins lived on Smith in Franklin, Larry's Bakery was there, and the trucks delivering bakery goods throughout the county stacked up on Roosevelt like you couldn't imagine. Right across the street, not exactly across the street, but within a 9-iron of this site is the Franklin Street Park. There's a massive park there, 2 ball fields, basketball courts, swings. To say that children have to use the street for skateboards, quite frankly, is improper parenting. These kids should be in the park that's right there across the street. There are services for families at parks right there. And many residential areas have got a commercial area.